Good morning everybody and welcome to this week's video. Now I'm not anticipating that this week this is going to be a long video. We've got quite a few things planned for the next few weeks. I'm going to be quite busy, so a lot of travelling involved. Not specifically for photography, but I'm going to make use of it for photography, hopefully. But what I've done this morning, I was hoping to go and do some photography in some woodland, but the last sort of 4 or 5 days we've had very little sun. It's been really, well, it's been warm, it's been really cloudy. It's not ideal for getting out early in woodland because obviously it's dark in the open, so when you're starting early in the morning, really for woodland I like to get some sun coming through so that you just get some shafts of light brightening the place up, and you know you can actually use your camera to reasonable ISO. So what I've done this morning, I've got no idea about what I'm going to see this morning. I've just driven a couple of miles from my home and I'm going to walk on a few footpaths that I haven't walked for a while. It's not 6 o'clock in the morning yet, so it's early, and I'm just going to see what's around really. So hopefully we'll bump into something, and I just thought I'd bring you along with me and we'll see what we find. So I'll catch up with you in a minute. I've walked a fair way now, not really bumped into an awful lot yet. I'm gonna try and sort of get down somewhere at the side of a hedge for a while and see what comes out. But I thought I'd just illustrate to you how dark it is this morning. I'm actually out in the open at the minute, and I'm just gonna dive in through this little wood here to get, it's only about 100 yards in depth, but I want to get to the other side. So my idea about doing woodland photography this morning, I mean the sun is full up now, although it's behind cloud. I'll just show you the difference as I just head into this wood. I'm trying to be quiet because obviously potentially there's stuff around. But I'm at over 6,400 ISO out there. As soon as you come into the woodland, it is like this. So yeah, and the camera's adjusting now, but hopefully you saw there how dark it is. So it's pretty pointless really going into woodland this morning to try and do some wildlife photography because it's just completely dark, and the ISO I would be using would be pretty ridiculous really. Right, I've walked a good couple of miles now. All the fields have, a lot of them have still got bales of straw in waiting to be picked up, which I assume they will be today. I think we've got rain on its way actually, but I wasn't seeing an awful lot, only a couple of hares in the distance. So really shows the difference between, like, I know these footpaths, but I don't really walk them very often, so they're not really that well known to me. Whereas last week, on last week's video, I walked those routes every day, and really I suppose it proves the need and the usefulness of local knowledge. Even though I'm only walking those routes with the dog every day, it just gives me the opportunity to see what's in the area and where it is, and if there's any sort of pattern to where it is, so that then I can exploit that when I come out with a camera. Here I've got no past history over the last few weeks of anything being anywhere, so it's you're actually just going on instinct really and what you think should be happening. So because it's quite quiet on the edge of the fields, what I've decided to do is I'll just hold up against this tree here, but I've got a field in front of me and another small woodland across this little field. So what I'm hoping is, oh well, there's a possibility that stuff is going to come out of the woodland on that side and make its way this way. The wind is blowing in my face, so I've got that in my favour. So I can hear something behind me, like sounds like a small rodent chewing on something, so I hope I'm not probably behind me here. But anyway, I'm just going to sit here for, give it an hour and see if anything turns up and walks across the field. And then I'll move on and try something else. But yeah, it's quite difficult when you're just sort of relying on bumping into things without any knowledge of what's been happening recently. So we'll give it a go anyway and see what happens. And as I say, we've got rain coming, so I don't know, it's very quiet, but we'll just wait it out, I suppose. Right, I've been here a while now. I don't know whether you can hear on this audio, but the farmer's obviously rushing to try and get these bales of straw in before it starts raining. I think they've given rain out for 10 o'clock this morning, and then it's pretty much going to rain for the rest of the day. So I notice when I come in, there's loads and loads of fields that have got bales. So he's obviously out early trying to pull those in. It's one of the reasons I set up where I have it, because that's the other side of these trees. So what I was hoping is potentially, with the disturbance over there, with him running around with a tractor and trailer, it might push things this way. It's quite interesting actually as you sit here, just listening for signs that there might be actually something about to appear and give you a chance of a shot, really, because this field that I've got in front of me is now empty. There's no bales in it, but obviously there's still wheat or corn or whatever the crop was that's been left when they've harvested on the surface. So you get the pigeons coming down into the field, and I've been watching for signs like the pigeons will suddenly fly up, and you know, I'm a long way away, so there's no reason for them to fly up that I can see. So then you start thinking, well, why have they flown up? Is there something on the edge of the wood over there that's going to suddenly come out? Then there's a pheasant kicking off, magpies as well, making a noise. And I have to say, last week when I was doing the other video, there were some magpies behind me kicking off. I'd been there a long time, so I knew it wasn't me. And it wasn't until I got up and came home that I noticed at the other side of the hedge the fox ran off. So whether that had been under there, I'm not sure. And I think that's a pheasant across there. Yeah, there's a couple of pheasants on the edge of the field. So yeah, it does pay to sort of listen for these signs and start asking yourself, you know, why is that making an alarm call? What is there over there? Why are those pigeons flown up? And just sort of keep your head down and see if anything does, you know, emerge. Sometimes it won't, but it's always worth keeping your eye on. The light, I have to say, has got no better whatsoever. It's as bad as it was before, so I don't know, we'll see what happens. I'm going to give it a bit longer. Right, I was literally just about to move then. I thought, yeah, it's not working. I mean, I think as far as what I could do, I've probably picked a really good spot here. I've put everything I can in my favour. There's just nothing around. And as I say, when you've not got that local knowledge, you really is a little bit of a wing and a prayer. But I was just about to move off, and it's I can hear this noise in the distance. I thought it was something that the farmer was doing. It was like a... But then this has happened. I'll just turn you around. I'm glad I'm under this tree. It is absolutely silent it down. So yeah, I think I'm going to stay here a little bit longer. It will be a case of keeping the camera gear dry because I've again come lightweight this morning. This wasn't supposed to be here till 10 o'clock and it's actually 7:30 at the minute, so there you go. Yeah, it's starting to come through the tree now. So yeah, we'll try and protect the camera gear. Hopefully this leaves off and I can get out of here and we may see something on the way back. Yeah, but it's one of those typical wildlife photography days, I'm afraid. Well, I have to say this morning has been a challenge. I eventually came away from where I was sat. It was perfect position, but there was just nothing happening at all. And then the rains came and I stayed a little bit longer. And I thought, yeah, I was going to have to can this vlog because there's going to be nothing on it at all. And anyway, I decided to make my way back to the car, and that's really always difficult because your concentration levels tend to drop. Mine do anyway, especially when I've been out since early in the morning. But I tried to keep my concentration, but there's just nothing around at all. Really, really quiet. Anyway, I got back to the car and the rain's eased up a bit, and I thought, you know, I'm just gonna, it's a couple of footpaths the other side of the car, I'll just give it another 10 minutes and have a walk down there and just try really hard to be as quiet as I can. Anyway, I walked, literally I'm 100 metres from the car at the minute, and came to a little junction, and there's basically a strip of land that's been left between a little bit of woodland and the crop. And I thought, it's got to be a deer or something down here anyway. I just sort of peeked my head round the corner, nothing there. And then the next second, a deer pops out of the woodland. Anyway, I got down on the edge of the field and she was looking at me. She obviously could see something was a bit odd. And then she ran towards me a little bit, still too far away to take a photo. And there's a little corner she came to. Anyway, she disappeared. What I thought was back into the wood. And really, it's a good lesson here is that sometimes I couldn't see her, but sometimes what they can be doing is browsing on the side of the bushes and stuff on the side of the woodland. And I think that's what she was doing. So I sort of held my nerve and stayed where I was and thought, no, I'm not going to move. I'm not going to move. Anyway, about 3-4 minutes later, she pops back out and starts running towards me. I've actually got one shot this morning, but I'm really pleased with actually just, you know, the fact that I nearly packed up and said, no, this isn't happening this week. And the rain's coming in again now as I'm speaking to you. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this short vlog. Sometimes wildlife photography is like this. It is a bit of a challenge. And sometimes it's your ability to actually stick at it that'll, you know, help in the end. And, you know, you've really just got to persevere, really. And eventually, you know, it doesn't always work out, but the more that you do that, the more chance you've got of getting that shot. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you next week for another one. If you've not subscribed to the channel, then please think about subscribing. And I'm going to head off before I get wet through. See you next week.